Hello there, fifth graders, and welcome to your next history lesson. In today's history lesson, we're going to answer the question, is it true that before Christopher Columbus, people thought the earth was flat? Here's a teacher saying, before Christopher Columbus, people thought the earth was flat. Now, this is something people commonly say, but is it true? Well, spoiler alert, no, it's not. In today's history lesson, I'm going to give you ancient examples of how people already commonly believed and knew that the earth was round, that it's a ball or a sphere, way before Christopher Columbus, starting with the ancient Greeks. Starting in around 500 BC, so that's 500 years before 2,000 years ago, most ancient Greeks already knew the earth was round. Around the year 500 BC, Pythagoras argued that the earth must be spherical based on his opinion that a sphere is the perfect shape. So maybe not the best reasoning on Pythagoras' part here, just because, a sphere is the perfect shape doesn't mean that the earth is a sphere. However, he was right. Next, one of my personal favorites, Aristotle. The Greek philosopher Aristotle, who lived from about 384 to 322 BC, listed several arguments for believing that the earth is a sphere. These include, first, that ships disappear hull first. That means the bottom of the ship disappears first when they sail over the horizon. And that's what you would expect if the earth was round. If you were standing right here and a ship was going this way, you would expect the bottom of the ship to disappear before the top of the ship. Now, I've never actually seen that myself, and I actually watched a YouTube video recently of a ship sailing away to see if I could tell that its hull disappeared first, and I couldn't really see that. But that was the first argument of Aristotle. The second argument Aristotle used to prove that the earth is a round ball is that it casts a round shadow on the moon during a solar eclipse. So during certain rare times, you can see the shadow of the earth on the moon, and he could see, hey, it's a round shadow. Therefore, the earth must be round, not flat. This one's really amazing. In 240 BC, so that's 240 years before 2000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Eratosthenes was even able to come very close to figuring out the Earth's circumference. So that's the total distance around the entire Earth. Using a lot of fancy math that I don't understand at all, that involved a well, shadows, and the distance between two cities, he was able to calculate that the Earth is about 24,000 miles around. And he was right, because the actual circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. So he was able to figure out how, not only that the Earth is round, but how big the Earth is all the way back in 240 BC, which again is a long time ago. It doesn't mean 240 years ago. It means 240 years before 2,000 years ago. Here's another example from not as long ago. This one's from the 1200s. This is St. Thomas Aquinas. He was a medieval theologian. He also knew that the earth was round. In the late 13th century, so that's the late 1200s, he wrote this: the astronomer and the physicist both may prove the same conclusion, that the earth, for instance, is round. The astronomer by means of mathematics, abstracting from matter, but the physicist by means of matter itself. Now, you might not have understood what that quote, oh, and by the way, that quote came from the Summa Theologica, question 1, first article. And you may not have understood what it meant at all, and that's okay, because the important thing about that quote, and the really interesting thing, is that in that quote, St. Thomas wasn't trying to prove that the earth was round. He was just using the fact that the earth is round as an obvious point everyone already knows in order to prove something else. This shows that during St. Thomas Aquinas' time, which again is the 1200s, so about 300 years before Christopher Columbus, believing that the earth is round was the common opinion. So most people knew that the earth was round all the way back in St. Thomas Aquinas' time. And again, that's about 300 years before Christopher Columbus. So not as old as some of the other examples, but this next example is the oldest one yet. There's even examples from the Bible that show that ancient people already knew the earth is round. This one comes from the book of Isaiah, which was written around, this is the oldest one, 700 BC. So that's 700 years before 2,000 years ago. So about 2,700 years ago. That's almost 3,000 years ago. That's a really long time. Isaiah wrote this. It is he, and he's talking about God. It is he that sitteth upon the globe, that's a ball. It is he that sitteth upon the globe of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as locusts. He that stretcheth out the heavens as nothing, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. The book of Isaiah, as I already said, was written around 700 BC, and that's a really long time before Christopher Columbus. So obviously, Christopher Columbus did not prove that the earth was round because he didn't even make it around the entire earth. He was trying to get to the East Indies, but the North and South American continents got in his way, which he didn't know that those were there. But he didn't need to prove that the earth was round because everybody already knew it. So did Christopher Columbus prove that the earth is round? No, not even close. Sorry, Columbus. I hope you guys enjoyed this history lesson, and I will catch you next time. Don't forget about the quiz, which is attached below this video. Signing off.